Hi everybody, welcome to a Chatty Get Ready with me. This is the look I'm going to be doing. It's a very close variation of the look I did in my Gilmore Girls Project Pan. I just thought this needed another intro. Hi Cashmere. I really rambled a lot in this video, so I did kind of give a warning at the beginning. Don't jump down my back, please. I did give a warning at the beginning of this video. Cat butt. Enjoy. Anyway, I did give a warning. This intro is also rambly as well. I did give a warning at the beginning anyway that this was going to be very rambly, but I also experienced some technical difficulties and I just rambled all over the place. So just the warning at the very beginning. Feel free to just use this comment section as your No By July check-in and we can chat there because I feel like this whole video is going to be a hot mess. But anyway, let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome to a Chatty Get Ready with me. Just a warning at the very beginning, this is going to be very, very rambly. I have no real direction for this. I will say too, right at the very beginning, that this could be used as a No By July check-in if you want to do so. If you don't want to watch the whole video, but you just want to chat about your No By progress or struggles or whatever, feel free to use the comment section to do so. I was going to do just a separate No By July, but then I was like, well, I didn't really have a whole lot to talk about, so I thought that I would just throw it in here so we can chat about how things are going. For me, it's been going well, no issues, although my circumstances are a little bit different, I guess, than other people. I'm using MAC Strobe Cream, by the way. I'm going to try to do a variation of the yellow eye look I did in my Gilmore Girls Project Pan update. I can never recreate anything exact because I always see something I want to change, but the base is very, very glowy. So I like to use the MAC Strobe Cream to start with to give me that pretty glowy skin. I also shaved off half my eyebrows, as I'm sure you probably noticed. I actually did this a long time ago. I think just before I did that Project Pan update. I have coffee here as well. Sorry, it's late. I'm so tired. I've been trying to film so much recently and nothing has worked out in my favor. Oh, it's been so frustrating. My camera is just so frustrating. I'm lucky to get half an hour before it just overheats and shuts off and decides that it's done for the night. And it's really frustrating because usually I don't get a chance to film until very late at night. And so by that time, once I'm already started, say it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock, I get half an hour in and then it's like, no, sorry, I'm decided to not work for about an hour. I don't have time to wait around, and by the time the camera might come back to work again, I'm way too tired and I just can't put any thoughts together. I tried to film a Chatty Get Ready with me before with purple eyeshadow and I couldn't get the camera to work for me. I had another video that I was filming about brands that no longer exist, and it just overheated and turned off and overheated and turned off, and I would get like 2 to 3 minutes of footage and I had like 20 video clips of 2 to 3 minutes of footage. God, it was frustrating. I cannot remember for the life of me what I did first. I think it was I probably put my eyebrows on before I did my face stuff. I do stuff in such a weird order sometimes. I cannot remember for the life of me what I do now. I'm gonna get my eyebrows on really fast. Alright, so just gonna skip right past that because I am no brow expert, and it's one of those things that makes me nervous sometimes with doing Get Ready With Me's is showing certain aspects of my technique. I'm kind of glad that my last video didn't end up working out for me, didn't end up filming properly and died, my camera died and all that usual stuff. I did this 60s inspired makeup. I was inspired by the Harper's Bazaar cover with Taylor Swift on it, and she interviewed Patty Boyd. It was very Patty Boyd sort of Twiggy inspired makeup, and I was very inspired by it. But I am just not a tutorial person because I feel like my technique is so specific to me from what I've adapted from watching tutorials, because I'm not a makeup artist And it drives me crazy when people are critical of the way that I do something. If it works for me, it works, but I get that what I do is not necessarily conventional all the time. I just have been sort of sculpting them a little bit more, but I've been playing with different angles for the brow, and I kind of been cheating up a little bit to give me a little bit more space, which has completely destroyed the way that I normally do my makeup and something that I've become so accustomed to. I also outlined my brows with the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, which is the perfect concealer for outlining my brows. It just ends up working so well. They look so clean. And yes, I am on a no-buy. I can't remember where this Get Ready With Me started at this point because it took so long to get my brows on. But the concealer was sent to me, so I'm very thankful for that. The only thing I've purchased beauty related was some sheet masks, and I only bought them because they were on sale at a store that's closing out, and it was like $8 for 5 sheet masks. So I was like, I'll give them a shot, because as I talked about before, I have such a hard time getting them to work for me. I'm using the Tarte Goldilocks Clay Pot Amazonian Clay Liner. This is in my Gilmore Girls Project pan. This is also another reason why I don't like to list the products I use in a description box, because if somebody just reads the description box, they can make a judgment on me based on the products they see me using, and the products that I use aren't necessarily products that I endorse, which I think there's a very clear difference there, but people are very quick to judge and not just ask people questions, and people wouldn't necessarily assume, oh, you're using this to finish it up. It's like, oh, you use it and you must like it, and if they like the way that it looks on me, they must buy it too, which is not necessarily the case. I definitely don't like the influencer label for myself in terms of, you know, encouraging people to buy products, because I don't like encouraging people to buy stuff that they don't need, and I don't like encouraging people to buy stuff from brands that, you know, I don't support or they don't support or whatever. I've been trying to be a little bit more cut and dry with the things that I support and don't support, and I don't think I will ever willingly buy Jeffree Star. Can't imagine that happening. I try not to judge people who do decide to buy, but sometimes I do judge people. I'm going to use the Life's a Drag palette for the yellow shade Campy. This is the shadow that I used when I did this look before. I don't remember exactly how I did this look before, and I think I had actually done it one eye at a time instead of letting this sort of dry down for a little bit, which is why, oh, too close to the mirror there. This is probably not going to be anywhere near as good as the look in that video, because I can never seem to talk and do my makeup. I can't even seem to just film my makeup and do it the way that I like to do it, just because I'm in a completely different environment. Well, not completely different, but I'm used to standing up in front of my mirror. I'm kind of like moving around, I'm doing other things. I'm not just focused on doing my makeup. I might have a video on, I might be listening to music, and the makeup just sort of comes. I don't really have to try, and I just sort of follow my heart a little bit when it comes to it. And when I'm sitting down in my filming spot, and I'm sitting and I'm in a very specific area and I have all the lights on and I just can't focus. I want to apologize to people watching for being so generally unfocused lately. I really felt that from myself over the last maybe a month, maybe 2 months. I just really have not felt entirely like myself. I've definitely felt a little bit boxed in, a little bit afraid to express myself like I had been. I just, looking back at some of the videos that I did and some of the things I said and ways I presented myself, I don't like it, and it makes me very uncomfortable. And I'm glad for some of the stuff that I talked about, but at the same time, I don't know, I'm just a little frustrated with my attitude sometimes, I guess. But it's one of those things that I've been trying to identify and work on, and it's really, really tricky. It's really difficult to kind of figure out some of the things that bother me, because I'm looking at myself. It's hard to look at yourself objectively, And that's one of the problems that I've been having, and one of the problems that I'm having just in general with YouTube, which I feel like with the issues with my camera and just sort of a lack of motivation and being so tired all the time, I haven't had the heart in my channel like I did before. It almost seems like well, does it even really matter? Does it even really care? And I'm not saying that for pity. I have to say that because every now and then I say stuff like that where I'm like, I'm gonna stop doing this, or I'm gonna stop doing this. And I'm talking about myself here. I'm not asking people to be like, no, you're amazing, you're this, you're that, because you know what, I don't need that. I don't need it. As nice as it is to hear nice comments from people, I'm just sort of talking to you as I would talk to a friend, because this is really what I use this kind of platform for, is generally for just talking to people, especially with these chatty get ready with me's. I just like chatting with people, and this is the stuff that I would say to a friend. I don't really have anybody that I can talk to who kind of understands the YouTube stuff. Most people, if I complain about YouTube, they're just kind of like, I don't get it, like what's the point, what are you talking about? They don't understand it. And some people who I talk to who might be other creators, they kind of view it differently too. And all I'm talking about is that sometimes I feel like I spend so much time and so much effort on various things I do with my YouTube channel, and not just like filming and editing. I mean, just trying to respond back to people and trying to take into consideration people's concerns and issues. It's a large portion of my day. And sometimes I'm like, is this actually worthwhile? Like, what am I getting out of this? And at this point, over the last couple months, when I kind of stopped setting goals for myself, I feel like I just haven't accomplished anything because, well, obviously I don't have any goals. So, and I don't really know why I stopped setting goals for myself, but I guess it's just, well, I guess honestly, I was just tired of comparing myself to others. I was tired of checking, you know, how many views did this video get today? How many subscribers did I get? So many, what happened here, what happened there? And I mentioned before how I disabled the likes, dislikes on my channel so that they're not visible anymore, which has helped a lot in terms of just sort of self-analyzing myself, because they didn't tell me anything. And honestly, since I disabled them, I have not had really any negative comments from people. And I mean trolling comments, not criticism or people disagreeing with me, because sometimes I will respond back to a person who disagrees with me on something and then they call me out for not being able to handle criticism, but I'm like, no, I'm just talking to you. I don't have to agree with you either. If you don't agree with me, like, let's talk about this. This isn't necessarily a, you know, you're right, I'm wrong, or I'm right and you're wrong. This is just something we can talk about, or I can say, well, you know, agree to disagree. But sometimes people want to point something out and expect me to be like, oh yes, of course, I'm 100% wrong, which I don't always agree with. Anyway, I said this was going to be pretty rambly. I'm having a really hard time blending this because I should have done it one at a time. That liner dries down pretty fast, so it's a little bit patchy in places because I wasn't able to get it to blend out as seamlessly as I could with the look I did before. So I'm a little frustrated, but that's what happens when I chat, because I don't think about all the steps. My brain cannot focus on talking about one topic and doing something else and trying to balance everything. So whatever, I'm gonna call it good enough. But anyway, this isn't a tutorial like I said, so just ignore the little patchiness. I'm gonna use the Becca First Light priming filter, the purple one. This is the only thing I like to give me that luminous, dewy kind of skin without being sparkly or like emphasizing my pores. It just looks really good. This is one of those staple products that I'm so glad I have, and I'm starting to narrow things down quite a bit in terms of like the stuff that I really want to have, just on like a personal level, not even just a filming level, just stuff that I like using. I've definitely stopped thinking a lot about like makeup I use for filming and more about makeup for day-to-day life, which kind of also tells me that my my commitment to YouTube might have shifted a little bit. Color correcting, of course. I don't know, maybe I need more goals, but I don't really know what kind of goals to set or how to set them and be realistic, because I don't want to set myself up for disappointment. But I also just don't really know what I necessarily want out of my channel besides just continuing on. Like, I don't necessarily want to grow my channel, but I don't want it to, like, I'm not really sure what I want. That's the problem. I don't really want to just grow my channel for the sake of growing it, because what's the point? I think some people have sort of goals in mind, like they want to get on PR lists, they want to have collaborations with brands, and as nice as that would be, those are definitely things I've thought about. They're just not objectives that I have, because I guess I don't really have an end goal. I definitely do wish that I had an end goal, but again, I don't like numbers-based goals. I don't know. I guess I really have no idea about what direction to go and what would make good identifying progress markers, or how you would even really define that in terms of YouTube channel without looking at numbers, without looking at certain accomplishments. And I don't know if I truly am cut out to do any of that stuff. You know, some of my friends here on YouTube, I call them friends. I don't even really think we're really not friends. But, you know, fellow creators, people who I, you know, enjoy watching basically, and people who might on some level be like a peer, I guess, for lack of a better word. You know, I see them increasing in terms of everything, and they're definitely very, very successful, and I'm so happy for them. And I guess I'm a very different person in that I don't think I would ever be anywhere near as successful as they are, because of their talent, because of their personality, because of, you know, everything else. I feel very generic, I guess. Like, I don't really stand out enough. I knew this was going to be rambly because I just did not have a clear direction about anything that I wanted to talk about. And then I start sentences and they're the sentences to nowhere. That happens to me a lot. I lose my train of thought so often, especially with these sort of chatty get ready with me's, unless I actually have notes in front of me of like, these are the topics that I want to hit. And I do. In all my videos, except for the occasional ones, I usually have like notes in front of me so that I remember the exact stuff that I want to hit during a video so that I don't forget stuff. And oftentimes I still forget something that I'll remember afterwards, but I try my best to remember the key points, and it's I'm just sort of all over the place. Anyway, I overthink everything and then I end up doing nothing. I've had so many ideas lately, and whenever I'm not able to do YouTube is when I have the most ideas, and I write down everything and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so ambitious. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do all these things, and then I end up doing none of them. Or I try and it fails because my camera doesn't work, and then I'm faced with the like, do I get a new camera? Something that I've been thinking about for like a year. I think I've had this camera for about a year now, a little over a year maybe. And I'm like, do I get a new camera? Am I committed enough to get a new camera? At this point, I don't think I am, which is something that I probably would have done, you know, a few months ago. I probably would have gotten a new camera, but I just don't feel, I guess, as motivated. And it's so sad, and I feel so bad because I don't want to put out half-assed content. I don't want to put out stuff that people aren't going to enjoy, and I like talking to people more than anything else, and that's, I think, the thing that I would miss if I stopped doing YouTube, is just talking to people. And it's something that I notice when I upload less, because I get the most comments within like a day, maybe two, and then I get no more comments, and if I don't upload for a couple days, there's just, you know, 2 or 3 days of nothing, and I'm like, you know, maybe I need to reevaluate my life a little bit here because I'm so used to communicating with people on the internet. Alright, so of course my camera had to die. Of course, so I did a little bit more. I contoured a little bit. I put my lashes on, a little bit of black liner. I'm just determined to keep this going at this point because I know if I stop, I will not end up getting another video up this week because of technical difficulties. And I'm just so frustrated with that. I'm just so frustrated. I guess I just have to reevaluate how I do things now, and maybe that just means I can't film looks anymore because I don't have the time. I don't have the time to do it, and I don't know. I am very unfocused, and I'm very, very sorry for that. I know this video is very all over the place, and I'm just at a loss for words, I guess. So I'm just going to try and finish this up pretty quickly. I'm using a bit of pink blush. I can't remember what the exact blush was that I used in this look, but I know it was a pretty heavy blush, and maybe this will be somewhat of a worthwhile thing. Maybe this will be somewhat of a worthwhile thing for this video. So when I apply blush really heavily, I usually end up getting it too close to my nose area, and I like to have my blush more up this way, up sort of like draping. So I take the foundation brush I was using and I just sort of tap it along the side of my nose and just sort of blend in, so it kind of fades the blush just a little bit so that I get that high concentration and blown out blush look, but only where I want it, and I don't have it too close to the center of my face. Just a personal preference. Something that I started doing. I'm sure a lot of people have done it before, and that I can kind of drag the foundation brush around any contour area. But that's pretty much the look. I did have lip gloss. I can't remember. It was the one from that Project Pan, which I think is in my purse right now, which is not in front of me. So I will use what is in front of me, which is somewhat close. This is a lip gloss from Dior. Just a pale pink lip. Just very sort of glossy skin, very blushy, yellow eyes. I did put a little bit more yellow underneath my eye. Just a little bit. It's definitely a light look, and I didn't use liner or anything like that. I really wanted to keep it kind of fresh and sort of youthful, and it's a very, very simple look. The thing that I liked about it is that I used the liner as a base and then would blend out the other color into my crease, but the liner is a little bit darker, so it ends up looking like you used more shadows just because you build on top of it. So that's what really kind of made this look special. And for highlight in the eye, I just used the Natasha Denona Glow highlight. So just like a light pale gold shade for highlight, but you could use whatever you wanted for a highlight. And I put a gold glitter in the inner corner just for a little bit of sparkle, but it's just very, very minor. I just think it's all about like sort of a dewy, glossy skin, glossy lip, a lot of blush and a lot of yellow. It's very, very simple, but a lot of people did want to see a tutorial. So since I suck at tutorials and just applying makeup in general, hopefully that was just a good enough overview of what I did to make this look happen. If you want to do it, if you want to do it with any other colors, because you really just need some sort of cream eyeliner, or you could just use an eyeliner pencil. Just don't do what I did. Make sure to do one eye at a time, apply the liner, and then go in right on top of it with the shadow and blend it out so it blends out easier and you don't have to really force it and you don't end up with like the patchiness that I did, because that's the mistake I made with talking. But anyway, I'm sure my camera is going to die again here in a second. I just want to wrap everything up. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your patience and for dealing with my scattered brainness and my sort of lack of motivation right now. I'm trying to work through it, and I hate having to drag you guys along with it because it's not fair to you. I just know that if I take a hiatus, I will not come back right now. And I don't know when I would come back, because once I stop doing something, this is such a big problem I have. Once I stop doing something, I just let it go. I just cannot get back into it. This has happened with me with every hobby I've had. I will do it sometimes for months, sometimes for years, and then once I get tired of it, or I'm just not as good as other people are, and I'm just like, what's the point? I stop doing it and I never go back. And I've just been like this my whole life, and it's something that I don't want to be like, because it's endlessly frustrating to like really enjoy doing something and then just sort of get talked out of it because of what other people say, other people's opinions, you know, the self-analysis, the self-doubt. It's something that I'm working on. So anyway, I'm very, very sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm very Canadian. I'm very sorry that I just haven't produced good content lately. I've tried, but I've also just really been dealing with a lot, and a lack of motivation being one of the big things. Anyway, that's just the whole point here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. I really, really appreciate you hanging out with me today. Excuse me. Thank you once again. Let me know how your No Buy July is going if you've made it this far. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, please, please let me know. If I have forgotten to address something that you wanted to know, or something that I said I was going to do and I didn't do, please also tell me. I really have been so scattered and I've been all over the place and I just can't keep track of everything. Everything's just a big jumble in my mind right now, and I need people to remind me. If there's something that they wanted to see that I have not done, please let me know. Cashmere's right here. I'm gonna grab her. My big kitten. Oh, she's big. She has grown so much. She's a big, beautiful cat now, basically. She's so fluffy. She's so fluffy I could die. Hi, beautiful. Hi. Hi, beautiful girl. Yes, she's so sweet. She loves sleeping in here when I film, and I think that's where she wants to go back to, like, the coziness of the floor. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. As I said, I hope you at least somewhat enjoyed this, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.